welcome once again to Wars Going On. I'm Mark Cyrus, and we are here on the Forerunner server to bring you the latest in what's going on in Watcher of Realms. As ever, this is a community-based podcast, and I am joined by Sebastian Keynes and Destined. Please do remember to get involved down in the comment section, like and subscribe, and share this with other people because it really does help grow the channel. So thank you, Destin, Sebastian, for joining me once again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Is this the third time I've been on? It's been a lot, I think.
It's second or third, yeah. It's you've been on a couple of times. Normally because you're the person who knows stuff, or you love GVG, which is another reason to bring you on because it's definitely a topic which brings lots of people in, and it's one of the big areas of the game in terms of PvE that people want to do. So it's people want to know the strategies.
It's really only the real only like end game content, for being honest.
Well, there's the Abyssal Drake, but
no, but once people breeze through the campaign and and then they get the faction trials done, they start complaining about content, and then all the stuff that is really left is GVG, and you just
and
adapt
the other content we don't talk
you adapt
about.
for 8 weeks and then you redo it all over again. So yeah.
So, well, Global got a patch last week, which kind of brought you up with a lot of the stuff which was going on. There's so much sort of mini games and content going on in the game right now. Obviously, we've got all of the events relating to the 4-leaf Clover for Sadie, which I'm quite looking forward to because I'm going to max out her artifact through doing it. Just buying stuff from the shop. Not bad skin.
Really good too.
Yeah, it's so good for her.
It's her best, I think.
Definitely, because it counteracts some of the issues she has around her ultimate, and it just kind of makes her a more rounded unit and more usable for the team, rather than letting everyone get slapped with all of the energy that she bypassed through the start of it. It's like, no, we're going to heal you first, and then we're going to heal you over time at the end.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Yeah. Here we go. Ultimate healing activated, triggers a healing, and then when it ends, reduces the healing loss effect to our allies by 20%. So yeah, really good for her. I hadn't spotted there are some legendary skill crystals in there. Damn it, I'm going to have to work harder now.
People always ask for those. I definitely need more. I'm only at like 40.
And I keep getting heroes that want to skill up.
I'm the opposite. I don't get anyone I want. Like, I don't know.
I mean, in the last week, a couple of weeks, I've had Rygar. I've just picked up an A1 Malvira, and so I'm trying to build her up. Obviously, I also want to finish skilling out Morrigan now that I've got Malvira, because I want to see if that's a viable comp for GVG. So yeah, lots of stuff to play with. Elder as well. I want to see if he's any good in Abyss with, again, Malvira. I think that could be some interesting stuff to do with him. But again, just lacking those skill crystals to bomb him out. And a Nora, who I still haven't finished maxing out. But then I don't have Yimmerit, so she's pushed down the priority list.
I haven't skilled her either. She's suffering right now in my box.
Yeah. She was definitely useful for me in the Esoterist stage 15, just because she's able to target so many units, and just her and her dragon just putting out lots of damage to keep things going.
She's pretty cool.
Odyssey of Dreams is back, which is always great fun. Interesting this time, they aren't letting you farm for additional dice. They're just giving you a fixed number of dice every day. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean it's not a bad change. Because
Okay,
I don't
so
think I max it out very often.
I normally do. So the big thing in the patch this week was this big rework on Durza, and he's got like a complete change of how he works now. So before his ultimate inflicted slow. Oh no, sorry, the talent. This is so the talent inflicted slow for 2 seconds, and attacking slowed enemies granted a 70% speed increase. Now, basic attacks inflict slow for 2 seconds when allies in his range have HP no higher than 70%, 50%, or 30%. They gain a 30%, 50%, or 70% damage reduction. So, even though his ultimate strips everybody of their health, the more he strips, the more damage reduction they gain. So, that's going to be really, really good for making him usable.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
There's even more to this because they really made him a support mage now. If people did not pick up in the beginning that he was a support mage, now with this rework, it's clear that he is meant to 1, provide damage protection, 2, boost rage, 3, inspiration, and damage increase.
Yeah.
Is there any unit in the game that has that much stuff? Like all of those things in one?
If you threw no, because not even Beelzebub's got damage reduction, but he applies vulnerability to enemies. So I guess
Right.
That's true.
Dio-chan, has all these facets to her. You just gotta put her in the specific mode that you want her in.
Yeah.
No, I don't think. No, I think that's pretty much that somebody would have such utility. No.
But yeah, he's definitely got a major rework, and all those people who have been saying, "Oh, he's an instant sell," yeah, mistake. This is a really solid rework on him.
But the people who have sold him in the past are gonna be so mad. It's gonna be so funny. I guarantee there's like suggestions in the main Discord that are like, "I sold Durza a year ago, and now I don't have him. Can I have him back?"
Yeah, in my video already, I already saw one comment like that. It's like, oh, I could have had an A1 Dursa, and I sold a copy of him to get a Soulstone or something. I don't know what he was chasing, but this is what I tell people: don't sell your legendaries, no matter how much they suck. Don't sell unless they're A5. Just don't sell them because you never know what they could do to heroes. We learned this from any other gacha game too. They do it as well.
Yeah, we in season 7 of GVG, we did run into a A5. Well, we think it was an A5 crash under an Ingrid lead, and it was just devastating. So it is possible for even some units who you think, oh, they're terrible, to suddenly find their niche.
Don't bring out Cratch and GVG with Destin.
Yeah, not with Sebastian either. This guy in GVG when he was in Dragon Slayers brings out the Crash Yimmer Ingrid defense against my guild, and we lost to it.
Oh yeah, so he does it to me as well. I mean, he's my vice guild leader, and some of the defenses you put up, you're like, what the hell is that? And it works
somehow.
Somehow. I don't know how it and then the kicker to Destin was like, I didn't even have him fully skilled. I just threw him in there. It's just Cratch. I don't care.
To be fair, it's a Yimmer and an Ingrid. Okay,
I know.
Yeah, but Cratch did all the damage.
Yeah. So it sounds like a nice reward. I don't have this here in the Forerunners account, and they have not updated him in the test server. So I want to be able to see how much he enhances a team around him. There were already a lot of people using him to push the Titanic Ruin scores, right? Some of those high scores were because Durza was included with the team, mostly because he was applying the vulnerabilities, right?
Yeah. So I think he will be viable in the Abyssal Dragon, because anyone who in his ultimate range, and we'll just jump over to the gallery and pull it up, but his ultimate range is massive. And anyone in his ultimate range is then going to have a 70% damage reduction. And that boss is kicking out so much damage constantly that they're just going to have a constant damage reduction, which is going to improve the survivability of everybody.
Yeah, it will help also if we do somehow we're able to incorporate him in. It will help the tank manage those hits, or the unit with the highest HP manage those hits from the meteorite in the magic form.
Yes. So, his ultimate range is kind of like an alien range. So it's a pretty decent, or A1 Daochan, which is sort of the standard meta that everyone's working to these days. So that's the sort of scope that you're looking at there. So it's a pretty big range increase over his standard attack range, which is, you can see just above Sebastian's head there, is a sort of the standard support range, a support mage range, which is 2 tiles forward and 1 back.
Yeah, it's just gonna be. We're gonna have to see if how we can keep him alive, right? His base HP is like 8,800 from what I see here.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
Does he need that many stats? Because it shouldn't be too hard to build him.
No, but you're not building him for damage. Is going to be the thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's like 2-3 stats that you don't need to build because you're not building them that way.
Well, you're going to need HP and rage, speed and rage regen. They're the 3 stats you need. Nothing else is important.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine to build them. Just do like
and we're gonna get to the topic later of Arena, but how they changed it, and that you need to sustain the waves now. He might actually help a chaotic unit. So yeah, I can see why they reworked them the way that they did, especially how they have introduced some mechanics here in the game recently.
Yeah, definitely. Right, so the ultimates. So this is the part of the kit that everybody hated, which he strips off 50% of his allies' health during the which lasts for 10 seconds to provide allies in range with a 50 to 100% attack speed increase and deduct 20% of their HP every 2 seconds, which is pretty drastic and would generally lead to the team being killed off through his ultimate. So afterwards, it reduces a flat 50% of the current HP of allies in range. So, yeah, just 50. So whatever HP they're at, it takes 50% of that away, which could be interesting with someone like Sargak, who runs at about 1 HP for most of his existence. And
or Lubu, because the Lubu is like impossible to get low HP. It's his biggest weakness, in my opinion, because he does like RDA power and he hits with like a wide range, but you can't get his HP low very easily. So it might actually make him meta in more areas, which is really cool.
Yeah, and whenever he does get low, he kicks up that big shield. Sorry, his whatever it is shield, and it makes him really difficult to kill.
Yep.
So then starts the ritual, which goes for a longer period of time, between 12 to 16 seconds. Same attack speed increase, 50 to 100. And this time it reduces 15% of their current HP every 2 seconds. So remember, this is not straight. This is going to be a curve. It's going to drop off because every time it's 15% of the current HP. So it's going to go in a curve. It's not a flat, straight line down, 15, 15, 15, 15. It'll curve out. So it shouldn't kill your units, but it will make them very low.
Yeah, 15% of the current HP, not of the max HP, which it will be. Yeah.
One of his other skills is the Sanguine Rite. Each time an ally's HP is deducted, that HP falls below a threshold, they gain a damage increase between 30 and 50% for 2 seconds. If not, half of the damage increase will be granted. So that's during the ultimate, if their HP drops below a certain threshold, they get a damage boost. And this time, they gain inspiration rather than a damage boost. You could argue that that's not as effective because previously it was raw damage. This time it's an attack increase. So it's potentially not as powerful. But it's between 30 and 40%. And again, they gain an additional damage increase. Okay, so the damage increase is still there between 20 and 30% if they drop below a certain threshold.
Also, attack increase is better than damage increase. So
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that unless it's a hero whose damage is depending on the multiplier, which you just brought him up, it was Lubu, right?
Yeah.
So Lubu has that modifier in his kit where his multipliers where the damage is coming from or is getting boosted, not necessarily his attack. So I think that in terms of the damage increasing helps heroes of that type, right? So but here he's getting inspiration. We're giving a damage increase. They reduce the damage increase a little bit to compensate for it. So it does not become like a overpowered type mechanic, but still, anytime I think that for most of the people that play the game and how they come about to learn it, especially from getting Dolores maybe early on, they see inspiration, they're gonna say, okay, I want this somehow because I'm gonna get extra damage out of it.
Yeah. And then they've juggled all of his awakenings as well. So the A1, which I believe used to be further down his list, is each time an ally is affected by Sanguine Right's first HP reduction, restores 60 rage for this hero at the end of the right with a cap of 240 rage per right. So each hero can gain up to 240 rage during his ultimate.
Yep. So A5 became A1. No, A3 became A1. A1 became A5. A3 is the new one.
Yeah. So during the Sanguine Right, restores 1% rage per second to other allies in range. And you saw he's got that big Aelin style range for his ultimate. So that's really good for people in range. And 1% rage per second is on par with Eloin. So, I mean, that's a decent amount of rage regen.
Yeah. And if you're running Eloin, it's just extra. So.
No, it won't be because it's capped. It's whichever is the highest.
But rage is not a buff, is it? Right?
It
Isn't
is.
it just an
It's a buff, which is why an aura can't be rage buff.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes in the kit description it says it, especially if it says rage, it's highlighted green. It tells you that the higher value one takes precedent over. It's one of those kind of hidden things that some people don't take into consideration.
There you go.
But
takes effect only when
I did
stronger
not
than the
know
current
that.
buff debuffs of the same attribute.
I did not know that. That's actually really interesting.
It's why you
Wow.
can't run Hollow and Eloin.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be broken.
Interesting. I'm surprised I never knew that. That's crazy. All right. Sorry, I'm kind of baffled.
Okay.
Right
No, that's fine. That's fine. Well, we have this program to let people know what's going on. So A5 so after the first HP production is Sanguine Right, if an ally's HP falls below 40%, their acquired attack speed will increase for the attack speed increase they gain will last another 10 seconds. So that's between a 50 and 100% for the duration of the ultimate, which is about between 12 and 16 seconds. So that's between 22 and 26 seconds. So that's a pretty decent attack speed increase. Khamet, spelt incorrectly, has the trigger range of his
That's crazy.
You don't know that. You don't know that. They might be translating like that. No, just kidding. It's whoever writes this stuff doesn't cross reference with the developer.
Maybe they think he's a green frog hand puppet, and he's Kermit. So they optimize the trigger range of his ultimate at A3. So previously, his ultimate would only trigger if you went into his basic ultimate range. Obviously, at A3, he gets a slightly wider Anora style ultimate range, and he would apparently only trigger if you were in the base range. So it's a nice feature.
This is a good change because the A3 I think is like honestly, I'd rather not have the A3 just on how it operates. This will make it a little more bearable.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, because you would assume, right, that you get that increased range, and once the target is in that area, you would think you'll be able to activate, and you couldn't do it, and that was the annoying aspect of this thing. So that's why you had to get some of the timings would off a little bit. But
yeah, and he's one of those heroes who you can't activate the ultimate unless the enemies are in range. So
oh, and this Cyrus one is what
yeah,
GVG players knew this because we would never team up Cranelian with Cyrus. It was a no-no. Everybody that was high level GVG knew this. It was like, for some reason, this is not working like it should. And now they finally acknowledged it and they freaking fixed it.
Yep. Now, when are they gonna fix the other Cyrus bug?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe after the 15X for Cyrus, just give him give a while.
yeah.
So, isn't that also on global already?
This
That
one,
patch note? Yeah, I think it's
That one
already on
should.
global.
Yeah, it should. I think it is.
I'm not sure.
I have my
I
global
think it
account
is.
open right now.
They fixed Sadie an issue where Sadie's talents, which is her damage reduction buffs, weren't being applied to allies in range. I had suspected, but I hadn't actually confirmed that that was the case. But yeah, good to know that that's been fixed. Extra gear storage, which is really, really nice. This next one
we should have that every patch.
Yeah. So the next one, they made this big deal about faction trial and gear dungeon. Gear and artifacts for the current lineup will be saved when auto fight records are saved. Doesn't work. I tried it twice today in the gear dungeons. It was really, really easy. You set up Gear Dungeon 2 with Edith, and you take the artifact off her between runs, and suddenly everyone just walked past it. Yeah, this hasn't worked. So I await next week's patch when they actually bother to fix it. But
they got to fix the fix.
They got to fix. Well, no. What happens is on Forerunners, they say, yes, we've introduced this feature, and what generally happens is they've either introduced it the week previously and we've all spotted it, or they haven't implemented it, and then the next week it will get patched inappropriately, and they may, if they're really thinking about it, put the same line in the patch notes.
That sounds about right, honestly.
The key thing here is hopefully when this gets to global, they have everything ironed out where it works, and then global people are not bitching at them saying, "Hey, this does not work."
Yeah. Arena, we're going to have to spend a little bit of time talking about, but basically, their solution to the match ending in stage 8 as soon as the last enemy is killed is to introduce a torrent of unstoppable damage, and your only chance is to survive. It's absolutely brutal. We'll have a quick jump in and have a look at one of those stages. But yeah, everything that you thought was working doesn't work very well. And all I can recommend in single target is don't get as few units in range of the area of effect enemies as possible, because it will rip them to shreds.
Yeah, they heard people didn't like Arena, so they were like, "What if we make Arena not at all the same?"
Let's make it worse. Yeah, that seems to be the current strategy with Arena.
Oh no, I have the screenshot saved from customer service who claims that Arena is the favorite mode for a lot of players in this game.
Oh, of
Not
course.
since
Haven't
Jay
you heard
quit.
so many good things?
I mean,
yeah, they lost their only Arena van in the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, without getting into Jake Smash's weekly "let's expose the cheating" situation, but anyway,
there's no cheating. They're all honest, hardworking individuals
who have put their name on a list. Yep.
That's diabolical. Yep.
Those comments were made by Arturos and Destin. So if you want to omit them from the list, go ahead.
I'm not in that
Sebastian says,
list.
go ahead.
Sebastian, what week are you?
Probably never, because
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend any time pushing Arena. There's no way. It's horrible content.
Currently, it's horrible content, yeah. So they fixed an issue with the Scale Skin Shaman's Healing Glow, where it didn't fully restore HP for other demon soldiers. So now the healer, who was overpowered and they've debuffed him to make him less effective, has had another buff to bring him back into where he's slightly more useful than he was.
Well, it's a fix, not a buff.
It's a fix, right? He wasn't. He allegedly was not healing everybody, but he's now doing the job that he's meant to do, which is heal anybody that uses aura, right? So
I thought he was supposed to heal off of the person getting healed HP and not his.
Both. Like, no, that was a long time back that they introduced that. So that's why you can't have him at the bottom affiliation. You need to have him higher up so that he's got a decent stack of affiliations so that his healing is more effective.
I didn't know it was both. That's good to know. I always wondered that. I really need to read patch notes more often.
Yeah. Well, you could just tune into this.
That's true. Or I could just be here, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. That works too. And removed rare skill crystals from the guild donations. You see, I don't have a problem with rare skill crystals. I have a stack of like 109 of the things. So what I have a problem with is legendary promotion extracts. That's the one I'm struggling to maintain a stash of.
They're both just as bad. They should put mythic extract in there too, so people can start asking for more mythic extract.
Or I mean, A5 promotion materials, right? I mean, that's the one that everyone complains about the most. Except I actually have, I have 2 in my storage at the moment. I'm probably the only end game player who has none of these. I've got 3 5-star psychic powers. I have 3. I use them.
How?
I use them to promote the 5-star ones, the 5-star units that I've promoted to 3-star to 6-star, because you get 300 points for doing that in a Corridor of Glory. And so I come into like the last 20 minutes of that, and I start promoting all of these 5-stars to 6-star. 6-star, it uses 5 at a time, and I suddenly just jump by 30,000 points, and the people who are in the corridor are just like, "What the hell just happened? This guy came out of nowhere."
You're the one.
Bro's revealing all the strats. I'm writing it down.
I guess I gotta start using some of these in Glow for something then. Jesus. All right.
It's the easiest way to get points in that. You just rack up 500, like have 200 or whatever 5-star body units, and then you just use all of your 5-star psychic powers, and you'll just dominate a Corridor of Glory, and people just won't know what's happened.
And then you sell the 6 stars after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, yeah. I see what you.
But I only have like 300 of those. Like I'm
only 300. He only has 300. So there, Arturos. For those of you that go into the Day of Incense and ask for a way to trade them in, Arturos just gave you a way to use them so you can get on top of the leader.
Yeah, if the devs watch this video, they're gonna start replying to all of those suggestions by saying, "Just use the strat Arturos uses, and you'll use them up real fast."
Yeah, endgame player has got 3. There you go.
Yeah, you're gonna be the one that they say, "Well, our analytics don't show that."
Yeah, you're gonna be coming out and you're like, "Hey, I need those. Can you please leave them?"
Yeah. Maybe I should put it as a suggestion on the forums. I please don't remove 5-star psychic powers. I need them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was the patch notes. We did briefly mention Arena, and so we now have I'm not going to go against any of those ones. But basically, it's now 9 stages. It's now a lot harder, and basically, it's a once you get to stage 4 or 5, stage 5, where they start to bring in the harder units, is where it really ramps up. Stage 6, it just gets absolutely brutal, and by the time you get the solution to start, as I said, the solution to ending the match at stage 8 is to make stage 9 near impossible. And
I wonder why they didn't just make stage 8 calculate properly at the end. Like, what if they tried and they couldn't because of something with the code and it kept breaking? So they were like, you know what? We're just gonna add a harder stage and make it impossible and hope it works. That's what it feels like happened.
For those of you that appreciate the content that you say, essentially what it felt like between going from 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 is just that these monsters gather so much more HP or defense. I think it's more HP. They're more durable. They're harder to bring down. They're going faster. They do more damage. And essentially what happens here is that by the end is either you're gonna have to take the strategy on offense of whether you're gonna try to sustain and make sure that nothing get past you, and then just let the defense get wrecked, right? Because they might have set it up in a way where they were just going full damage to try to get you at the beginning, and then you're just going to try to carry it at the end. If you can do that, that's how you're going to win that. The other way that I've seen it is that you can try to out damage them at the beginning, but if you're not ready at the end, you're going to get trucked over. That's essentially what happened in single target to begin with, right? Because you either A, sustain, go for sustain, or B, you just try to out damage people. And this is something that Arturos was saying, that he was able to counteract some of the Balduran teams. Some of the Balduran teams were made to go ham, wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but they just did not have the sustain later on. And so he took advantage of that. And he built a team to just kind of, do some damage, take that hit at the bar at the beginning. But he knew that Valderan was not going to be able to sustain the 3 or 4 monsters coming at him. And these monsters are coming out faster. This is not the field that we had of old arena or the arena that is currently on global. These guys come on every 2 seconds. It almost feels like every 2-3 seconds you have a new one popping out. So people are going to have to do that. Now, what I was telling these fellows, and I don't know if they think that the calculation is feeling different, but if I noticed that there was a defense with very low BP, I was just jack my BP up, and somehow I managed to throw off the timings on the other side, or I was able to get those demons to run them over a lot quicker. So they changed something about the BP as well. So something is going on there. So there are different things that people are going to be able to, pick on and then try to see if they can cheese it in some way. But if you are high BP, you go against a low BP defense, you're able to sustain those early waves, you're going to win because those later waves are going to run through that other defense.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, before we started recording, I did just run through this single target arena team that I've got here, and I'm not going to say this is the greatest strategy in the world, but it's one that's working for me, and I'm going to kind of demo it here. But basically, this is just to demonstrate the level of chaos that's coming in, and it's very much kind of almost designed to stop Cyrene cheese, because by having the early bosses hit really, really hard, you can't just sit there and tank with Cyrene while you're building your squad, because she just won't be able to survive. You'll see her take like 2 hits here, and she'll be down to below about 30% health.
Yeah, and or before we started recording, we started talking about healers, and we noticed, at least for this LON, she's getting outpaced. She can't keep up the healing. We have to bring somebody else in.
Yeah,
So we had talking about the Somi, Carnelian. You even used Ezrin because Ezrin was doing a
yeah,
better job than Elowen. So
absolutely.
yeah, so things are shifting here in the type of heroes that you're able to use. Now, what I was telling these fellows too is that the way that the demon soldiers come out and how fast they're coming out at the beginning, at the very beginning of single target, if you have Valderon, you are ahead because he's only 12 cost, so you can put him right in the second or first ground tile. But if you don't compensate and make sure that you can sustain the later waves, you're going to get wiped out. But that is one of the problems that I was having with the Valderon teams, that I could, in some situations, I could not out damage them. And they had to do with BP differences. But that was the key: is Valorant teams can get ahead, is whether they can sustain. And here, but what Arturos is showing us is kind of like, yes, I have damage, but I'm also trying to sustain this as much as I can.
Yeah. So the general strategy is basically kill the first couple waves to stay in the fight, and then try
Yeah.
to keep
It's
it
a
So
going
yeah,
for longer.
I generally get down to about 40% in the first couple of waves. And then I kind of keep pace until about stage 6. And that point, I start to take the lead because I can just keep up, especially when this team gets rolling and Jira gets her awakening. Not awakening, her second ultimate.
Yeah, I'm sure someone with like crazy awakenings will figure out how to stomp every wave into the ground. But for everyone
Yeah.
else, it's pretty unlikely.
Yeah, I was chatting with someone before this evening, and they were saying, "Oh, well, just start with a Ardia and then a Garn and a Sargak." And it's like, yeah, that's great, but I don't have a Garn. Whereas Jira effectively tanks, she hits like a truck, and this content is now working for her because now she's actually able to take advantage of her her benefits, basically. Her arena buffs, which I didn't really use her for previously. And now, right, these guys, this AoE effect will melt anybody who's in it. And so I'll just pull up the stats here on the manual. They've got this effect now, which is called Decay 2. So the basic attack increases the target's attack interval. So they slow down your units by 20% for 6 seconds. This effect stacks up to 4 times and can't be dispelled. So that's really, really bad for most units, with the exception of Jira, whose entire kit is built around attacking slowly and reflecting received damage. So that's kind of what I was working on with this team, like taking advantage of her kit to take advantage of the retribution of element that she's got. But yeah, and they also all the units heal themselves. All the enemies heal themselves now as well. Just, because they weren't hard enough.
Yep. Because F you, that's why.
Yeah.
So the way that I summarize this to them is, number one, this is how I feel. So DMs to Sebastian Keynes, not Destin Arcturus, because they might have a different mentality on this. Is number one is S content, you just threw more S on it. And by that I mean, you know what I mean. All right. Two, if people hated this, they're gonna hate it even more. Because number one, now you're gonna have to contend with all this extra stuff going on, their damage mitigation, the fact that you have to sustain all of this, and you're gonna have to spend more time on this now because you have to perfect it. And now you have 9 waves, right? So they think that they're doing you a favor, but they're not. This is just gonna consume more of your time into trying to get in this. It's going to also still, the meta heroes I think are still gonna persist, and they're gonna be more relevant for this because you need a lot of damage.
Yeah, definitely.
You might be able to bring other heroes to make sure you're durable, but Pradius, Ingrid, Valderon is still going to rule the thing. And in anti-air, I was talking to Arturos about this, is it feels like they kind of took away some of the oomph that Nyx and Kai got at the
Yeah,
beginning.
definitely.
So exactly, right? So it's like they just can't help themselves. They can't help themselves say, "Oh, people are now using other here. Oh no, we got to bring in Ingrid and Valderon back in." And then the other thing is, especially if you're on global and you're pushing for Lady A, try to push as much as you can before this rolls out.
My favorite content arena becoming more of my favorite.
So yeah, so no, they're not getting a fan out of me with this. And yeah, it doesn't I don't think that they know how to fix this or how to make it better, to be honest with you. I think that
No.
whoever's playing this, doing all the tests, are doing it with all A5s, and they're reporting back and saying, "Yep, it works. Yep, this
Yeah.
works just as well as the website that we put together 5 months ago."
I have said constantly that they do all of their playtesting with A5 units and god tier gear, and I think this is just an evidence of it, because the only way that you would enjoy the content is if you've got maxed out heroes and maxed out gear, because this is starting to get crazy now. So this is the third one. They've just come in. That was, yeah,
Yeah, I wonder.
just about
look at
keeping
how
pace.
now it's like you're not waiting, and then these guys are getting damage mitigation on top of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
It is nuts what they did.
Yeah, it's just what it seems to me is the change sure includes some more units in terms of like healers and tanks and blah blah blah. But the DPS are even gonna be more skewed in the way that it already is. Like
yeah.
you can't just make things stronger because the
No.
strongest things are just gonna be more relevant and the gap will widen. You got to do things other
Yeah.
ways, like change the placements or change the.
It's almost like they were telling us, you're gonna probably need your Valderon to be a little bit stronger. So here's an artifact. Now go play with this mod. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah. 5 million damage. That's how 5.5 million damage. That's how much damage Jira took during that battle.
Yeah,
That's just
yeah. It's and I keep another thing I want to emphasize here is the drill master thing. That's just BS. It doesn't really work because you
no.
can set it up one way, you take it to the environment, and even if there's a slight difference in BP, things can get thrown off so easily. So you have to take over. So yeah, so in some situations, if it says you got to do 5 arena from the guild activity thing, 4 of you more likely are gonna get free wins for me because I just go down the list and go, quit. I'm out. I don't have time to spend here with you all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'm running an A5 Ezrin because it's best healer I've got, and that damage mitigation is just clutch in that stage. So yeah, it's nutty. I know other people are doing different teams, but that's the team that's working for me, and you can see why with that level of damage is coming in.
Must be nice to have Ezra.
I'm wondering how many if this is just like they're trying to bring the defense success rate down to like a quarter, if their analytics are showing that some people are sustaining at 75% and they just don't like that. I don't know. I don't know why they did this. It's really confusing as to what this approach is.
Yeah, and the other, so AoE Arena, which I didn't bring up, we did talk about it the other week. Basically, after the 3rd or 4th stage, the enemies that are coming in now start to have shielding, and they just get progressively harder. So that was in stage when it was the 8th stage map. Now, I haven't seen stage 9 of AoE Arena because it hadn't actually rolled out in time, and I haven't dared look at it because I'm going to have to rebuild my entire team. But yeah, it was hard enough to get a decent team working in that. With this new stage 9, it's going to be brutal. It really is.
You mean it's going to be the most fun thing that's ever come to this game?
It's going to be. I think Lubu will do well, and probably Lady Alexandra. But everyone else, I think, is not going to have fun.
Yeah, of course, because Lady Alexandra is really accessible. Right
Oh,
now.
absolutely. I mean,
we all got her, right?
no. I on Forerunners, I'm never getting her just because look, you can see that 10,000 arena coins.
And it's easier on Forerunner. That's the
no,
thing.
it's not. It's not because of the fact there are so few players. The Apex, so probably the top 50 on global are probably the equivalent level of difficulty, but the top 300 are probably the same. But because of the rank compression, there aren't as many targets, so it's harder to push up through those ranks. So it's harder to push Apex on Forerunner than it is on global.
Yeah. So Muntan, if you're keeping an eye on Forerunners, and given the shed content that you put out, number one, you're losing players, right, on the server. Number two, not many players are doing arena in Forerunners. So we have a point deflation system going on here that is more drastic than you think that it is. It's not showing up at global because a lot of more people play arena in global. But here, you see people that should be in Overlord be on the lower tier of Plat 3, Plat 2, because the point system is so effed up given the few players that we have. So for global, no, you might not, this is not going to be a problem. But for here, if you want to make Lady Alexandra more accessible to the players that are still playing in Forerunners, you have to fix the point deflation system. You just can't just look away and say it's going to work itself out. It isn't, because you're not bringing new players in.
Or if you are, you're bringing them in at level 1, and therefore they're either not getting to the top, or they're getting bored, and then they're not reaching the stage where they're pushing for Lady Alexandra. So
yeah.
I submitted a customer service suggestion about this a while back. I mean, there are things they can do, and I really hope they don't do them, which is like sell end game acceleration packs, because it's really scummy. It screams of EA. And yeah, flashbacks to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. But yeah, it's that sort of idea that you can sell people into the end game without giving them the experience along the way. But there's a real problem on Forerunners that they're letting people in, but they're giving them level 1 accounts. And then they're getting bored because they've got a level 1 account and they've got to push through all the content that they've already done on global, and they just can't be bothered. And so they play for a couple of weeks and then quit.
That's it. Yep. You got it.
That's what happened to me.
So yeah, so that's my rant on arena right now, especially without they put everything together, and especially how things here are in Forerunners. And I want the community that is here in Forerunners to keep playing. I don't want this dying out. Otherwise, it's no fun doing content from this server. But that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, look, I keep harking back. 955 days I've been on this server. So I plus this. I can't even remember if this is the first guild I was in, but I think it's pretty close. And I've been playing a long time. I've been playing until like February 2022, 23, and yeah, I had a lot of fun, and that's why I'm still here so many days later. So I'm not in a rush to quit. I got a lot of time invested in it, and people say, why didn't you come to Global? It's like, because I've invested so much time into this account. Why would I want to throw that all away and go to Global? Do all the content again.
Yep.
Okay. Enough ranting, enough sadness. So one of the other reason, other than complaining about arena,
GVG, you are mistaken, sir.
Yeah. So Gauntlet, Gladiator's Gauntlet, season 7 maps are live. They are going, and oh god, this is a tight match. So a 0.1 difference between us. That's like one shield.
You're sweating it, aren't you?
I'm not sweating it.
That's one dog.
That's one dog getting through. We've probably got this. We've got more people, and yeah, we just got to get them done. But anyway, so tower maps. I've already done my attacks because it's pretty late here, so I'm not going to be able to do this. But we'll just pull up a map and we'll have a talk about the tiles and what's working, what isn't working.
In a showcase of an attack.
Yeah, so this is showcase of attack. So this is you have like a nice Dahlia / Ingrid tile down here, which you can do a lot of building around. But obviously then that's going to need some support up front on here. That then leaves itself open to attacks by the Garnet guards. So again, you've got to build around that to make sure that you're getting enough support up that side. As Sebastian said a long time ago, these maps are really susceptible to swarming because even though Dahlia is putting out all of those slows, that this map eventually gets overrun, and I was able to push my dogs through and get the win against that one.
My God. I can see why the guild had an easy time with that. What is the one cardinal rule we tell people? Don't spread your defense out. This guy had Iowa all the way over here, Lily all the way. No, it's
yeah.
Okay, that was like showing bad defense on this Gauntlet map, man. What are they doing?
Is there still the tiles at the back?
Yeah, can you go to the garrison setup just for us to see it a little bit more?
Keep or tower?
Let's
keep.
Let's start the keep because this is where everybody goes for first.
Yeah.
Oh, yup.
I want contribution points. I must get keep.
Yeah.
They're also easier, so.
So this is my setup here. So I've got Ingrid, so she's got good control all of this section of the map. Let me just pull everyone back, and then we can kind of do some playing around of the map because this is generally what we do when we come into these. So ground tiles, you're much more limited in where you're putting your ground tiles. They have opened up a couple more up here to try and encourage you to, I don't know, waste your defenses.
To lose.
To lose, yeah. To encourage you to lose. We've had some interesting combinations where someone set up a Admiral Claw here with a pull defenses off, and then there was an Ingrid down here causing chaos. That was a fun team, but it was very tricky to beat on timing. But it was ultimately decided not to go down that one. But if you're setting up at the back, it's quite tempting to put Ingrid here.
But then she dies on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. She dies to archers. Epic archers here will pick her off as they're coming around that corner. So it's not worth the risk unless you can come up with some crazy Cranelian strategy to bounce to aim deliberately for her and then bounce off to everything else in your defenses. But yeah, it's pretty crazy.
You just place her on the right side.
you can't place her on the left because of they've taken out the tile behind the defender. So yeah, they have taken on board that complaint. You can try and do something down here, but it's really difficult to get the right number of units in play without somebody being within range of bookkeepers. I mean, you could have like a defender, Valkyra sort of classic setup, but then you're kind of 2 units. You're a unit short to make it work, and you can't unless you're putting someone like a Yimmerit in this location or a Magda to try and push units away from the chaos. We need some more devs. If you are watching, we need some more ground-based control units, not just platform ones, because a ground-based control unit placed here with a wide area would actually work really well. So if I was a ground unit there, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, or if Malvira had 3 tiles, she would be pretty good down there, but not the tile you're talking about, but behind Brocare.
Yeah. I mean, Malvira, yeah. Well, she would pull everyone into her there. So again, you could try and do something where you're having her be this lockdown, because she blocks up to 7 people if you're using a Bastion ring. So there is the potential for chaos, but then you need massive DPS in order to take everything out before the ultimate ends and everything just walks past.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So nothing. I mean, there's some things that changed on the back end of the map, right? So platforms were switched over to ground tiles. Ground tiles were switched over to platform tiles. We lost the platform behind the defender. Don't use anything in front of the defender; they're gonna get sniped off. Still the same.
They removed the tile from here as well, so
it's kind of like daring us to use more ground units. Is essentially what I'm seeing here. But so defending it, it's still hard to defend it at the bottom. There isn't a whole lot there that you can do to put a 5 hero team together, and doing it here in the front. Yeah, it's that this I would still say that easy to swarm, or if you have level 5 Legos, maybe you can somehow strategize to get him through.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's not immune to lightning guards. This team. No one's tried running it, but that's because the guilds we've faced so far aren't running level 5 lightning guards. So, but if you could get rid of Praetus, then you've got a chance of at least getting Ingrid to switch modes. And if Ingrid switch modes, then it's game over. But because I is there, I will be the primary target for the Garnet guards. So that's adds to the survivability.
So I don't know if you've seen anything different, Destin, but I'm still going to say that the to strengthen up the formation, it would be here at the back end of the map.
I think there's a lot more potential at the front, which I like, but it's Ingrid potential, which I don't like. So apart from that, it's all going to be at the back for sure. But
I mean, I tried Nightmare at the back, and I couldn't get Nightmare to work. Well, I tried to get it to work. Basically, I put something down and it got completely swarmed and overrun. But that's half of the course, really, with Nightmare at the moment. They're really struggling with Season 7 maps. I don't think that's going to get any better. I did try Ajax there as well, but again, it wasn't really doing what needed to happen. But yeah, this is the sort of thing you can come up with at the back of the end of the map. You could have a run of 3 down here, but then you're purely trying to stop swarm. You'd have to have your healer off to one side. Your DPS is limited to whenever your Yimmerit or your arrogance is triggering off. If you were positioned there with your arrogance, then you might be able to, whenever that's hitting, but don't like it, which is why I've got the situation I've got. And
I mean, in global, we're still some nightmare teams. It's just a BP check sometimes, right? That's essentially what it comes down to, some, right? But aside from that, it's the esotericists are still gonna have some play here. And the arbiter. There's some arbiter compositions that can pick up a couple wins here as well. So I don't see that changing a whole lot either.
Yeah, I agree with you. It feels very samey.
Oh, I mean, it is. I mean, this is only the jump up to what's going to the from the season 7 map to the season 8 Gauntlet. They haven't completely transformed it. They've just made a few minor modifications to mix things up a bit. What they have done is let you have a 3-tile ground team at the front up here, so you can have your sort of your nightmare comp built around here. But as soon as anything gets past your first 2 defenders, your third unit is only applying damage and isn't going to stop them running through. So it in some ways it makes it more vulnerable to swarm than it has previously been.
Yep.
But otherwise, you've still got the potential to have your defender there, and then you have your Ardia or Ymrit up here to shoot down into the defenses here. So that's still a valid opportunity. You can have your Ingrid back here, but she's more likely to switch modes, which good or bad can be a thing that you want to look at. But yeah, there's a little bit more flexibility. You could have another unit there. You could have your.
That is the challenge here. That first spot is that this ground tile in the back that gets switched over. So now it's not a platform anymore. So the thing is that you can no longer put a marksman there, right, to cover air. So you have to kind of switch things around as to where you want to place your marksman and mage, if that's what you decide to bring in. So
yeah, that's gonna pretty heavily damage the 2 best Nightmare teams right now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
so
that's the biggest impact I'm seeing here. Is it's mostly a hit to the Nightmare teams.
So here in this, I would say there has to be. We're gonna have to come back to those teams that we tried to put together. Where protect against the Garner Guard, and make sure that we can clamp down a little bit more on the front. But to put a unit on that third ground tile, it's like Arcturus. It's gonna be difficult to give that or give that unit up to sustain this or to sustain the swarm.
Yeah.
You're just inviting a little bit more now. It's essentially what's coming down because unless it's Ingrid and she's doing a lot of damage there, it's gonna be really hard to protect that against.
I mean, you could do something really nutty with a Dahlia going across and an Ingrid coming down, but even then, you're not really going to be able to sustain the.
You're leaving your defender too unprotected.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, I'm saying it's something you could do. I'm not saying it's the best strategy, but
I think that they pretty much weakened this spot. They probably strengthened the middle portion, the second spot a little bit more because they actually did open it up a little bit more.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot more fighter tiles.
Absolutely. You can have your side channel fighter tucked in here, but then that makes it difficult to, obviously it's vulnerable to bombs. It makes your platform units really difficult to make use of. But if you're running Valderon and you could have Valderon Garn or whatever, just to keep things in Valderon's slamming zone, then that works for you. But then you're still going to need to get a healer in there somewhere. That isn't going to be susceptible to Garnet guards.
Yeah.
And if you place people at the second area, that whole bottom right set of tiles were Mario's.
Yeah.
You can't place anyone there.
No.
It's just it's a dead tile.
They've been making these sort of central islands really difficult to maintain for a while, and this is just another example of that.
I think the strength of this map is on the back, especially if you have Ingrid.
Yeah. I've been surprised how I mean, I will actually put videos of the 2 bugs that were encountered when this map was released on Forerunners, just because they are so hysterically bad that they have to be shared with the community. They were just absolute chaos. So the first one was when you placed a demon on this first tile, it vanished. Not like turned invisible, it vanished. It was like the unit had been played and deleted.
Yeah, when someone told me about that, I don't know if it was you or Sebastian. I that was like freaking hilarious to hear about. Because how does that happen?
And the other one,
class quality. That's what it is.
The other one, which Sebastian told me about, was on this map. They got the pathing wrong, so the demons actually ended up about here, not on the exit, like here. And then the map didn't end because you hadn't broken the tile, you hadn't broken the exit.
Yeah, they still had it coded. They had it coded that the core was 1 up. So any demon soldiers that I got to that area there, they were just like, oh, we're just waiting for the Ingrid AOE to take us out. So
Yeah.
I had to grab screenshots quickly of 3 or more units being there so I could prove to those that I was testing defenses for, said, no, I got your defense. It's just unfortunately I can't show you that it was a victory because they were just clumping here.
Yeah. They managed to miss the core, so it was a real mess. But
just
absolute joke.
That's funny.
I don't know if they started with them too early over there, but that was just like, to me, it was like, it could be funny, but come on, this is stuff that you should check before you put it live. It's not that hard.
No. At least it ends at Forerunner and it doesn't come to global. But the fact that it made it that far is absurd.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
So what was this one?
I don't know if does this one bypass Valkyria reviving the core in arena? What do you think?
This one, it's better than that. I think
this one,
reviving the core was terrible.
How does that even work?
Oh, I still have the video, but yeah, Valkyria, if you pointed at her in a certain way, you could revive the core, so you would get an extra set of HP in arena, and people using that strategy as well. It's like, this is not meant to work like this.
Oh, wasn't there also a bug where you could pull with like some unit, the units behind the portal or something? And then you couldn't hit them?
Yeah, I think it was if you had the epic mage, the epic support leader. I've forgotten her name at the moment, but
Aeon?
If Aeon's pull, if you could do crazy things with her, so you might be able to pull them past the target. But I mean, there always used to be the issue that they have finally fixed was if you pulled units off their predefined pathways, they just like skip whole areas of the map. So at least that one's fixed.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, there's been a lot of bugs. Then again, the game's been out for technically 3-4 years, but
yeah.
Are we doing season 8 here too?
We can do. Or we can just have a look at another couple of defenses. There's another tower map. So this is a nightmare comp set up at the front.
I thought you guys had to beat this, so we'll see. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can just dog through this.
Yeah. But this is a good example of what we were saying. There's this unit at the back isn't going to stop the things coming through.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's the problem.
And there they go, dog straight through.
This is one of the defenses of all time, I think.
There he goes. Yeah.
Yeah, Wukong
But yeah.
died.
Yeah, that Wukong wasn't built correctly.
Yeah. It was obviously a DPS Wukong, but
Hey, could you just show the people what one of our guildmates did to another by changing their name? Just really brief.
I need to find that. It's in Tower. The Tower 4. Attack him. Yeah.
Look at it. I don't know how you managed to put an arrow. It's just like, no, attack him.
That's crazy. How well did Astrazi do? Like, did he get ganged up on like crazy?
Not too bad.
He just joined our guild. So his GVG steep curve is a little bit high right now. The guild that he came in, so yeah, he was a little bit surprised by how dedicated we were. But yeah, he's in the learning curve right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing in Forerunners. If you lose an end game player, it's devastating because you basically have to take someone from a lower guild and go, okay, time to start training you, because it's not like you can grab from other people.
Yeah, this is one of the problems in Forerunners. Yeah,
one of.
There's lots of them. This was a fun one.
You guys deciphered this one? Yep.
Yeah. So
hey, Desmond, can you tell these attacks yet for this guild?
Sorry, what?
Can you tell who hasn't done his attacks yet for this guild?
Be you.
Yeah, it'd be me.
That's fine.
Are you going to be the tiebreaker, Sebastian?
I think he is.
Oh,
is it going to be all up to you? It's a lot of pressure, trust me.
Man, it's a lot of pressure. Okay.
This team looks kind of not good.
No, I think
maybe my standards are high.
No. Trust me. There
aren't many dedicated endgame guilds on Forerunners.
They're at least in
these guys have got
guild,
good BP. In
our guild, if I would see something at the front for the keeps, I would test it, and then I would tell people, "Here are your weaknesses. This is where you could get picked apart." So it was one of those things. I think that for somebody that was running Admiral Claw, I had to get the timing just right, but I could get the dogs past him, and that was the thing that I told him, is that if somebody picks up that little window, they can get through.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're straight up helping competition just so it's harder.
I don't see a lot of at least I don't perceive a lot of optimism with the front side defense on the keep. I think everything's going to have to be on the back again.
It's always the back. It's so rare to see front teams on these maps, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the tower does right now, but...
Okay,
Elo and Healer.
This one has Silas over Lady A, and yeah, the healer is the wrong one, so you already knew that I wouldn't have liked this at all.
You would have moaned about this because of Elohim. I mean, it managed to hold up against the attack from our guildmate, but it's...
Yeah, he didn't do it right, but yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I see what the defense was trying to do, but offensive encountered this so much easier.
Can't you just rock Cyrus?
Probably. Yeah, you bait off the ultimate, wait for him to be on cooldown, and then get the rock. Yeah, you need Eloin off ultimate, and then you'd probably be able to get the rocks in.
Yeah, and then he'll just insta die, and then that's the main DPS con. And it's just you got to.
Then they're just putting up with the Sargak and Ivar chaos.
But Ivar's not even attacking in front of Brokir, so at least if I'm not mistaken, was he?
Yeah,
I forget.
I saw Ivar. Yeah, I saw Ivar go off a couple times. So
you have to have like multiple units there. Like he won't always attack. I'm pretty sure. So you could just put tank through Sargak and then dog through, because your VAR's not going to pick off 6 dogs.
No. There's no CC other than the freeze from Brockier.
Yep.
I mean, if that Sargak had been swapped with an eye, and that corridor there might have been a different story. But anyway.
Maybe.
Yeah. That's a repetition of the same one, but they had a slightly more tanky Mari. So my strategy didn't quite work as smoothly that time round. And that's another Lady A at the back of the map. This time with the Cyrus. That'll be an absolute demon to get through. Because this area is all going to be frozen up with ice. You've got Praetus going off. You've got Lady A. Oof. That's a strong defense. Kudos.
Look kind of brutal.
Okay, so we've been going about an hour and a quarter. We could do season 8. We'll probably draw it as a split here to talk about season 8 of GVG. If you guys want to do that, or do you want to call it a night?
Whatever. It's up to you guys.
Let's do a part 2. How about that? So we'll wrap it up here for this part, and then we'll do a part 2 for season 8, because of course they're gonna be you're gonna be encountering these as separate types. So yeah, let's take a little break, and then we'll come back with part 2, and we'll just briefly talk about season 8 GVG maps.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
We'll see you all next in the next one, or in part B.